Hello, welcome to West Ham Confidential on Revelator Alf. So big game coming up this weekend for the Hammers. Yeah, away to Everton under Marco Silva, who's got them ticking along quite nicely. They're without Richarlison, which is a benefit for us because he's already bagged in 3 goals, I think, already. But they do have the ability to get goals from all over the park. So I think they'll be at home. They'll be looking for an emphatic win against us. Last season, let's not forget, they drubbed us 4-0 with the Rooney wonder goal as well. So, different Everton, different manager this season, but it's also different West Ham under Pellegrini. Let's face it, we haven't started well. It's been shambolic, actually, hasn't it? But, Pellegrini's got the players in this week. He's been away. A few players have been away on international duty. But they've come back in and they've been working on, I suppose, some of the basics and also, the defensive qualities, the midfield shape and also, the attacking options as well. Pellegrini has a big decision to make, I think. He has to decide if he's going to stick with his formation, stick with the players that he's brought in during the summer, or the club are brought in during the summer, I should say, or whether he actually changes tact and actually, introduces the new players. Does he actually start with Rice, in a more prominent role, probably sitting in front of the back four? Does he persist with, Masuaku on the left and Fredericks on the right? I would say possibly, certainly on the right, let's get Zabaleta in and see how he goes. And I would also go Creswell on the left for better defensive qualities. For this match, certainly being away, we want to try and keep it tight at the back. Midfield, well, look, I think he's got to look at packing that midfield out. I think we can't. We're too naive sometimes in midfield. We give the ball away too easily. We're either trying to look for that killer pass, up to the front runners, whatever they are, and it's just not working out and we're losing possession. And then we've got a weak work ethic that we're not chasing down the opposition and not pressing hard and fast enough to get the ball back. So that's where we've been letting ourselves down. I think we need to play 5 against the midfield, across the midfield, and a lone striker up top, whoever that is. Now, the question is, who do we have in midfield and who do we have as a lone striker up front, if indeed that's the way he's going to play? Because I don't think playing a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2, possibly, or 4-4-1-1, whichever combination you want, think about, is going to work for us. I think we have to keep it tight, pack it out in midfield, dominate possession, and then just hit them on the counter-attack, as and when we can. So I think, having those 4 at the back, Balbuena and Diop in the middle, I think Creswell left, Zabaleta right, and I think, do you know what I'd do? I'd actually go Masuaku on the left midfield. I'd have Yarmolenko on the right-hand side, because I think he's got to prove himself now. He's had 3 or 4 games, counting the cup game and also pre-season, of course. He's had 3 or 4 games. He's come on. He's had flashes where he could produce, but then he hasn't really produced anything. So I think, start him on the right-hand side. And then I'd have Anderson in the middle, just to try him out. And I'd have him alongside Wilshere, and I'd have Sanchez or Rice stuck in behind them. And then, so that'd be your 5 across the middle. And then, it's either going to be an Arnautovic or it's going to be, Hernandez up front on their own. Well, I don't think Hernandez is going to be doing it by himself up front. Lucas Perez, I don't think is there just yet. Antonio, forget him. He's not going to do it. So our only option is an Arnautovic up front, isn't it? So I'll be really interested to see how Pellegrini sets up, whether he adopts this kind of more reserved defensive style, or whether he's going to be rigid in his thinking and is his, formations and the play he chooses, and whether he's going to keep on with his 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 or whatever you want to, consider. Let's face it just hasn't worked, has it? Now, we've had two tough teams, Arsenal and Liverpool. Arsenal, we did really well, but we still lost the match. That's the key thing. We still lost the match. But where we should have done a lot better with Bournemouth and Wolves at home, we were pretty clueless, really. And it's in one hand, he's succeeding on where last season, the season before, we were failing, in that we've got a bit of possession, but we're also creating chances. Where we're failing is that we're not putting those chances away or not getting close enough on those chances and hitting the target. So if you're going to have a more offensive style, you're going to be pressing high up, then you kind of have to sacrifice that 4-5 defensive midfield shape, and you have to go for a 4-3-3 or 4-4-2 and have 2 or 3 players up front to actually generate chances and capitalise upon those chances. So you're going to have Arnautovic, and then pairing up with Hernandez, and then I don't want to say Antonio because I just don't think he's right for us anymore. He's just never on board, in my opinion. He hasn't been on that for a good 2 or 3 seasons. Well, two and a bit seasons, I should say. So I really still think that the Arnautovic-Hernandez partnership is the one. I think there's been a couple of flashes of them linking up. They can do it, but they have to work harder themselves. The whole team has to work harder. The only player so far who's actually done themselves any justice has been Fabianski, and that's not what you want, really. Yeah, you want your keeper to be solid, but you don't want him to be the star player week in, week out, and that's a problem. We've been relying on him to keep the score down, and not be a cricket score. So we need, better players. We need, we require the better players to be playing better and to be working harder, and for the, Pellegrini to, make the key decisions that are going to keep us in the game and either hold on to a win or at least get goals. We're missing goals. That's what, we're not scoring enough. So if this is going to be the trend, if we're going to go up to Everton and try and get a result, I think a win is going to be unlikely, based purely upon our failure to actually capitalise on chances. So I think the best we can hope for is a draw. We need to, guarantee that draw by, being strong and, pack out the midfield, and also being strong at the back. But, then we've got Man United, and then we've got Chelsea, and then a week or two later after that, then we've got Tottenham as well, and then Brighton away. So these next sort of 5 or 6 games that we've got are crucial, really, and it sets the tone for the rest of the season. If we don't get many points out of that, if we don't get, let's say, 5 or 6 points at these next 5 or 6 games, then I think that is our season pretty much done for. I think we're going to be on a downward spiral. Our heads are going to be low, and the problem is us as fans, you as fans, whether you're a regular, attendee at London Stadium, or you go to all the away games, or you're, sitting in your armchair, whatever it is, on the other side of the world, or, just down the road, you're all going to be saying, or we are all going to be saying, the next game is a must-win game. We have to win it. We have to, and that's pressure. That's too much pressure on the team, on the players. They're not going out there with sort of random abandon, are they? And they want to, we want our players to actually go out there, be confident, play with swagger, play with style and flair, pass the ball about, and be free and comfortable to just go forward and generate chances. And if we put too much pressure on them, because basically they haven't performed well and they haven't got the results, and crucially haven't got the points, it's just going to be, it's just going to compound the problem. We're just going to get worse and worse and worse. I already, it's amazing, isn't it? 4 games into the season, and we already think we're already thinking this is going to be a really tough season. You know, before the start of the season, we all think, yeah, maybe 5th, 6th, maybe 7th or 8th, you know, and the league will go far in the cup. Well, you know, we may still go far in the cup, but I think it's just going to be a struggle until the players start showing the fans that they have the capacity to actually go out and dominate and win games. It's going to be a struggle all season. But, you know, we're always hopeful, aren't we? But we've got to see. We've got to see the fight in the players. We've got to see the fight in the manager. And we've got to see that will for him to make the crucial decisions. And you know what? If the players, this very next game, it's kind of like do or die for these players. If they're not showing it, if they're not performing, we've got to cut them. It's as simple as that. You know, because the club is too important, and the onus on us to stay in this league is too important. So one of the questions I've been asking some of my other pals, you know, and some of the other groups, chat groups that we've got this week, to say, you know what, would it be that bad if actually West Ham were relegated? Now, of course it would. It would be terrible, totally devastating for the club, financially and everything. However, if you factor in all the problems with the stadium, with the kind of the support, the home atmosphere, you know, with the question over whether many of the supporters who are actually in the stadium, whether they are actual supporters or whether they're just Premier League football supporters, whether, you know, this is something that would be an opportunity for the club to cut all the dead wood out, you know, to start again, you know, to have a big brush fire that would burn everything down, and then we just, you know, get those green shoots that would come back again. You know, would that be an opportunity? And also, crucially, would you really start enjoying your football again? A lot of fans I know, and I'm kind of like this as well, you know, sometimes I think, do you know what, dropping down, it might be the best thing for us. You know, we get out this whole rat race of the Premier League. We get out this whole thing about, you know, having to spend millions and millions and millions of pounds, you know, just to hundreds of millions of pounds just to stay in the league, because that's what it's going to take. If the board think they've only spent 100 million pounds and that's it, that's going to be the answer. It isn't, because we need, you know, year in, year out, that kind of spending to be able to compete and stay in this league. Because unfortunately, players' values and wages are just crazy. I mean, it's not just even the transfer fee, it's the ludicrous wages that they're on now, £100,000 plus for average players, you know. So you sometimes think, you know, would it be that bad if we get, you know, relegated? Now, that's, I suppose, I'm saying it this early in the season, not because I want us to go down, of course, nobody ever wants that. I'm kind of mentally preparing myself, you know, for it, and to think, actually, would I really mind being in the Championship? Well, I wouldn't, actually. I mean, actually, any fan, really, you don't care where your team is. You know, obviously, you want them to be at the highest league and they're doing really well, but you're going to support them anywhere. But you'd probably find that the games, it would be the you know, the loyal support that would want to go to games and want to follow their team regardless of what league they're in, whether they can actually get to games or not. Because I don't buy into this whole thing that you're only a proper fan if you go to every game, home and away. That's absolute nonsense, because, you know, life pressures, whatever it is, you know, and geography and money obviously doesn't allow sometimes for a lot of fans to be able to get to games. You know, it's okay for, you know, early 20s football fans saying, yeah, I'll go to every game, and you're not a proper fan unless you go to every game, blah, blah, blah. Well, wait until you got family, wait until you got, you know, work, you know, that, you know, makes you work every weekend, or that you're having to move to the other side of the country, you know. Yeah, it's a nonsense to say that. I think you're a fan, you're a supporter wherever you're from, and it's a privilege to be able to go and get to games if you can. But saying that, you know, I think, you know, if we drop down, it would sort out a lot of the problems that we've got, sort out a lot of the undercurrent of, I don't know, fans turning on fans. I think, you know, it would actually, you know, wipe the slate clean a little bit, and it would enable us to get back on track. But I'm hoping that the players and the management can get us back on track without having to take such drastic action. But I think, you know, if we don't get these points in the next few games, this is when we really have to start facing the fight of our lives for this season, and also the real spectre of us being relegated at the end of the season. You know, we said it a few years ago, so you know, lots of people saying we're too good to go down, and we went down, and then we went down again. It can happen. It can happen again quite easily. I think the first time we went down in recent times was we were on 42 points and we went down. You know, so it's easily done. So, you know, don't want to see that. You know, we've got the pedigree there. This is the thing. It's a confidence game now. It's got nothing to do with quality. It's, you know, it's confidence. Anyway, I think we'll get a draw at the weekend. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. So they've got to work hard. They've got to put a shift in. They've got to start playing as a unit, get the relationships working, and start building on, you know, getting possession back as soon as possible. That's the most important thing. You know, right, 1-1. Who are we going to say? I'll go for Yarmolenko to score as well. Don't know why, but anyway, I think Arnautovic has got to step it up a little bit as well. You know, he kind of in and out a little bit, so step it up. All the players have got to step it up, really. And Fabianski, just keep on doing as many saves as you can. Anyway, up the hammers. Catch you on the next West Ham Confidential coming soon. Cheers.